Hello. I wanted to show you this strange video that I saw. Or not video, news article. Let's see if I can find it here. This is on MSN website. Idaho shooting suspect's hypersexual Martian manifesto is a window into an unraveling mind. This is a video that goes along with it, which these are supposed to be police lights, which when it's moving still look like, I don't know, some kind of medication pills to me. But on a Tuesday evening, as tourists snapped photos in front of the White House, a young man with blonde hair and blue eyes approached the black iron fence. Kyle Odom wasn't there to take pictures, however. He was there to deliver a message to the president. A Secret Service agent spotted Odom tossing something over the fence and approached him. When the agent ran his name through a law enforcement database, a red flag popped up, an arrest warrant issued just 2 days earlier on the other side of the country. The charge, attempted murder. So he must have been asked his name and birth date and all that stuff. Arriving out of nowhere, Odom's arrest at the White House brought a sudden end to a 2-day manhunt for the Marine veteran. It also provided a bizarre coda to an already baffling crime saga, one that stretched from rural Idaho to the nation's capital and potentially threatened the lives of 50 members of Congress. When Secret Service agents unwittingly stopped Odom, the 30-year-old was the only suspect in the shooting of an evangelical pastor, and I'm not going to say this right, but in the Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, on Sunday. According to authorities, Odom had ambushed Tim Remington in his church parking lot, shooting the popular pastor in the skull and back before vanishing. And that's horrible that happened. He's the suspect, though, not necessarily the person that did it. Remington, who survived the point-blank shooting in what one church member called a miracle, had appeared a day earlier with Senator Ted Cruz at an event put on by Cruz's presidential campaign. That led to speculation that the shooting was politically motivated. But Odom's manifesto suggests that the shooting, if he did it, now this is an if he did it, was something else entirely, the act of an unraveling mind. Now, I'm just going to say that this comment, the act of an unraveling mind, is an opinion by the person who's writing this. And let's see if their name's up here. Michael Miller. So that's Michael Miller's opinion. But the story is that this person was meditating and saw an alien that looked like that, according to the drawing, of from the police department. And this man, Odom, had a 21-page manifesto, which he sent to his parents as well as several Idaho television stations, is a window into that unraveling. Excuse me. But just because, and I will say this because I truly believe it, just because somebody sees something that looks like this doesn't mean their mind is unraveling. And I'm curious about why they're putting this into an idea that it means the person's crazy. According to the police there in Idaho, he has a history of mental illness. He has to put that in there first. And then in his manifesto, he outlined his path to Sunday's shooting in clear but increasingly paranoid pose. He admitted to plotting to shoot Remington, but he also claimed the pastor was part of a vast alien conspiracy to enslave the human race. A conspiracy that Odom believed extended all the way to Congress. My last resort was to take actions to bring this to the public's attention, Odom wrote near the end of the manifesto. I hope that something good comes of it. Just realize that I'm a good person and I'm completely innocent. Also realize that the people I killed are not what you think. So then it goes into this whole thing, description of who he is, blah, 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 blah. And check my personal documents. As you can see, I'm pretty smart. I'm also 100% sane and 0% crazy, is what he's saying. But the documents he sent to the local media suggest just the opposite. They reveal an intense and dangerous paranoia, as well as an obsession over hypersexual, mind-controlling Martians. Now, I just want to say here that there's a lot of people that believe that there is such things, and that they are mind-controlling people. It's not actually that unusual. But now let's just say that there are mind-controlling Martians that are in the government or trying to run the population around the world, even say, and they might own the media. So if something like that were true, they're going to want you to believe that it's a dangerous paranoia. Am I right? Okay, so then this is Odom talking. Everything started while I was at the University of Idaho. Spring 2014 was my final semester, and I was taking a heavy course load. They also have to say that because that shows that he was stressed. I was very stressed. Oh, there we go. Due to the intensity of my schedule. So I searched for a way to cope. I discovered meditation, which seemed to help, so it became part of my daily routine. As I learned more about meditation, I became interested in consciousness and our ability to affect it. I kept working on my meditation techniques and began achieving extreme states of consciousness. Now there's nothing unusual about that or weird about that. Many doctors suggest that. That is a good thing to be doing. And then one night in February, when Odom was meditating, he had an out-of-body experience, which is also perfectly normal for people that meditate, or even if you don't meditate. And then Odom is saying, I entered a space that was completely dark and had no awareness of my physical boundaries, orientation, he wrote. I felt very peaceful there until blue light began to approach me. As the blue light got closer, I realized that it was another being. This is all in there because it had something to do with that whole deal with the Tim Remington leading a prayer at the rally. When Odom awoke, he had tears in his eyes, he wrote. At first, the alleged alien encounter seemed like a blessing. The remainder of the semester became exceedingly easy for me, he wrote. I felt like I had tapped into some kind of power. I was exerting no mental effort, even though the classes had been extremely difficult before. But Odom's first close encounter would actually prove to be the beginning of his nightmare. And so then it goes on talking about after he decided to leave the school, his life became a living hell. He couldn't sleep. After a few days, aliens posing as classmates tried to provoke him to become the next school shooter. So he left Texas and returned to his hometown in Coeur d'Alene. This is where the story gets weird, he wrote. On a flight home after a job interview, he began to suspect that strangers were sending him secret messages. Newspaper headlines had hidden meanings. It was blatantly obvious that they were doing something to me, but I didn't know what. I had applied to several government agencies before this happened, so I thought this might be their way of contacting me. Back in Idaho, a friendly text message was would put a beloved local pastor in Odom's path. I realized that whoever I was dealing with was extraterrestrial, so I became very scared. So he got a text message from John Padula, the Altar Church's outreach pastor, inviting him to attend service. When he first went to the church, however, something felt very wrong, he wrote. I felt as if my life were in danger, and I became so uncomfortable I had to leave. And then he began receiving text messages from Remington, but saw them as something more menacing. Okay, now that is weird that this guy, Remington, is sending him text messages. In my mind, that seems weird. And he was sending him Bible messages. And then he started threatening me, Odom wrote. He sent me messages talking about their power and other things. He did all of this through Bible verses so it would not look suspicious. Okay, I know they're trying to make it look like he's wacky, but I personally can totally see this. So anyway, then he began to experience strange sexual feelings. It felt like someone was manually pumping blood into my penis and heard suggestive songs in his head. Now, if you do any research on anybody that talks about being mind controlled, this is exactly what they're talking about. So he goes on and talks about the stuff that does sound a little wacky, but he's not the only one that experiences stuff like this. Now, this is an article that I'm going to have the link below. New evidence of military involvement in abductions. So you can read this, the link will be below. And a lot of people have had these kind of experiences. Not only alien abduction experiences, they report they were kidnapped by a certain branch of human military personnel. They were drugged, taken to hospital-like rooms and underground military facilities. They saw men in white lab coats. They were examined, interrogated, and sometimes implanted with military devices. Okay, the link for this will be below. This is only one little article. There's hundreds of thousands of stories like this. Now, this is an article, and the link for this will also be below. 10 popular mind control techniques used today. We go down here. The more one researches mind control, the more one will come to the conclusion that there is a coordinated script that has been in place for a very long time with a goal to turn the human race into non-thinking automations. Down here, modern mind control is both technological and psychological. Tests show that simply by exposing the methods of mind control, the effects can be reduced or eliminated, at least for mind control advertising and propaganda. More difficult to counter are the physical intrusions which the military-industrial complex continues to develop and improve upon. And then they go into some of the mind control techniques. I love this. Food, water, and air. Additives, toxins, and other food poisons literally alter brain chemistry to create docility and apathy. Drugs, military testing, electromagnetic spectrum, television, computer, and flicker rate, nanobots. So some of this stuff is real. Here's a video about a lady who found all this stuff on NASA websites, and this link will be below. Document reveals plan to kill off mankind. So she's got all this information that you can hear about if you're interested in that. So this is one of my favorite channels by a person named Dante and Friends. And if you click right here, you come to Alien Races book. It's very cool. The link for this will